Happy effing Friday, everybody. Chad Choquette pitched a multi-million-dollar family fun center for his small town, raised money, but didn't have the operators and had to kill the deal and eat the losses. What he learned about vision, capital, and timing might save you millions. Let's go. Welcome to the show, everybody. Today I'm joined by Chad Choquette, an entrepreneur and real estate investor, family man as well, out of Greenville, South Carolina. One of the many Greenvilles, I imagine.
Yep.
Or Taylors outside of Greenville.
Taylors. Everybody knows.
You're looking at a map, go to Greenville, then you'll find Taylors somewhere outside.
To the east.
Why don't you go ahead and give us a little bit of your background? Where'd you come from? How'd you get into real estate? How'd you end up here?
Yeah. So I grew up in New Hampshire, went to college in Florida, studied web development and graphic design. And so I worked at camp in Western North Carolina, and then I started more formally working in the web space. I did that for about 15 years, and then I was laid off. But during that time, while I was in web development, I had started acquiring properties. We got into the Airbnb space because we didn't have enough money to go on vacations with our family, but I knew how to buy houses. So I was like, well, if we buy a house and we run it as an Airbnb, then we can control the conversation. And that's what started us down that journey. We really love hospitality, so it meshed well with what we were doing. And we went from having no Airbnbs to having 2 within a month. We bought one in Western North Carolina, a nice little town called Bryson City that we liked. And then we bought our neighbor's house. Somebody had been asking to buy his house for a whole year. I didn't know what I was going to do with it. And then a gentleman in my church funded our acquisition from that point forward with a lot of our properties, our flips and Airbnbs here. So that helped. And then about 2.5 years ago, when I got laid off, the company wasn't doing very well. And I also didn't really want to do any more web related work. It was just not something I enjoyed, but I got paid to do. And he said, go take the month off and I'll pay you for it. Go figure out what you're doing and you can, go on your way. And that's when we began this whole journey of being fully in real estate and self-employed, which is something that we've been praying about and thinking about. We kind of knew the time would come at some point. It was just kind of like a kick out the door, like go do it now. So we're resolved within a couple of days. We're like, okay, we're going to go do this. And we get to about a year ago is when I joined Gator. Leading up to that time, there was a whole mess of things. Like we bought houses to do Airbnb, we flipped houses, we made money, we lost money. And the whole time, we fed our family, everything was fine. But it was a lot of struggle to figure out like, what are we doing with life? And so I joined Gator about a year ago. Somebody reached out to me and then just dived in, spent like 2 weeks watching literally all the videos in it. Bought the hat and t-shirt, put my name on the back, chadismoney.com, put a QR code, went to real estate meetups, did credit stacking, infinite banking policies, like all kinds of stuff, and got heavily into the money lending side of it while also continuing some of our other projects, which led us to Main Street, where we had the opportunity to buy 3 properties, a couple with some partners, and then we started just acquiring stuff in the Main Street corridor with the plan to redevelop and pitched the whole building a miniature golf course and a pizza restaurant, which was much needed for this market because there's a lot of young families that don't have a place to go. We all drive, 10, 20, 30 minutes away to go do something further in town. It's like, it'd be nice if it was over here because most of our, young family populace is on the outskirts of Greenville. And the market definitely demanded it. But again, nobody knew who I was at that time. And so they weren't willing to give me the amount of capital we needed. So we put that on the back burner and then joined Owners Club and focused on just growing where we're at. And now we've had some better opportunities with some partners who want to help us scale, get back to the Main Street redevelopment, have some partners we're building a lending company with, and then also continue to grow my short-term rental company with some more acquisitions. And typically right now we've been buying a lot of stuff with Morby methods. So yeah, it's a quick overview.
Very cool. We could start a holy war here with the web development stuff.
Yeah.
First question there, the important one, tabs or spaces?
Which language or script?
Any.
I mean, white space programming? It's super
white space programming?
You program with just tabs and spaces. So both. I mean, but I like spaces because tabs don't get interpreted correctly across the different
spaces is the right answer.
Correct. Tabs are weird. They come out weird when you put them into a different system. We use a lot of Nova or Coda. That worked well. Then I switched over to the Visual Studio. That was okay. So yeah.
Yeah, that's also my background as a software engineer. Uh, I kind of got grandfathered into it. Luckily, I
Yep.
got in. I got into web development at 1998. Of
Okay.
course, I didn't. Pros and cons. I didn't hit anything big in '99, and I didn't lose a ton in 2000. But
Good for you.
yeah, continued on the software engineer stuff for many many years. Still doing that. In fact, um, what did you find challenging about the whole pitch of the miniature golf? It's really interesting to bring that kind of stuff into community.
Mhm.
A lot of these small towns, right? Like you said, you've got to drive, drive, drive. You don't have really the opportunity to build your local community, your local network of friends, young family. You've got a young family, right?
Yep. Yep.
3 kids, something like that.
4 kids and a fifth on the way.
4 kids and a
Yep.
fifth on the way.
Yep.
Dude, you actually could just start your own town.
Yeah, basically. It'd be kind of fun, right? Be the mayor.
That's right. Until one of your little kids rises up and tries to
Yeah.
take over.
Does a little Walking Dead maneuver. Scary.
Yeah. So what was challenging? You said you pitched the miniature golf place
Yep.
and a restaurant.
Yeah. So the pitch was a family entertainment center with some like bonus packages if we like raised more capital. And what was needed is a community place because we didn't have, you know, this is one of the stories I tell. After church, we go out to eat. We want to hang out with our friends and our families together. We could go to each other's houses. Our house is not particularly like large enough to, hang out with a lot of people. It's just easier if you go to a restaurant. And Chick-fil-A is closed, the only place that has a play place for all of our young kids. And we go to Chipotle, and we're happy to sit there for like 2 hours and talk and over everything, the sermon and life and everything. And that is great for 2 and 4-year-olds, right? Like 2 hours sitting is awesome. So that went great, and they did really well. But it's not like the best thing for them. And, you terrorize the place a little bit and you clean up and put the messes away and you say, thank you for your service and letting us stay here. And it was that realization. It was like, we need somewhere that's open, that we can go, and that there's something for all the ages to do something that won't be like my wife and I have been to some of those open spaces at like a brewery, those concepts and stuff, and those are all right too. But it's like a different atmosphere. So we're looking for something that was like catered to young families and had a little bit more for them to do. And miniature golf was something I had already been exploring for our Airbnbs. I'd already contacted this company that does like the premier miniature golf developments across the U.S. So pretty much any like the big ones with the waterfalls that are blue and stuff, like they build all those.
Big pirate
And
ships.
yeah, exactly. So I contacted them when we were working on this plan. There was a parcel that had been for sale for a while, and it was an old 7-Eleven, and the gas tanks had already been removed, and the canopy had been removed, and it was just primed for something. It was like six acres, and we negotiated with them, and I made this whole plan, put it together, started raising on fractional, and we went to Dealmaker, and it was a great opportunity. Like we had an awesome time, or I had an awesome time presenting it. Pace and Jamil were like, "This is awesome." Matt Sorensen had his doubts as he normally does, and Pace was just like, "This needs to happen," because what I was pitching, I think, gets to the heart of Pace and a lot of other people in the community, where it's like community. We want time together and things, places to do that. And I was pitching a lot more than that at the time too. That was the main development. But my plan is like walking trails and connecting the community in the town, because, suburbia is a nightmare where it's like you always have to get in your car to get anywhere. And I was like, let's build walking trails and get people, off their seats, on their feet, and they can go and do stuff together and see each other face to face. And it was great, like opportunity, great time to pitch it. I think people saw the vision. A lot of community saw the vision, but it's just a lot of money. And usually people like to give money to people that they know, trust, like, love, know that they can use that money properly, especially the more money you're talking about. And in this development, it was $7 million. And we had some of it we could fund via some of the local banks and some other organizations, but we still needed a significant portion of that. And I spent some money working on getting like designs for the miniature golf course, getting the survey done, getting there was a guy who helps sell restaurants and start restaurants. And he helped a lot of the planning with the food planning and the pro formas on how the costs of the produce and the kitchen equipment and getting all those numbers worked out. So we had something very solid to present. But it came down to it's like, oh, I hadn't done it before and I didn't have a definitive person who was going to be running it at that point, except for like, my face. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm the visionary, but you really need operational roles that can vouch for this being a very plausible use. So when it came to, I pitched in May. We had been raising for about a month. We'd raised a few $100,000, and we get to about June, and it's mid-June. At that point, I kind of knew we're tapering off on like everybody's wanting this thing to happen, but people weren't giving in, and it was going to be not possible at the time. And we had a few other irons in the fire for some other partnerships, some redevelopment stuff, and that those things were not exploding like the way that we'd hoped either. So it's like, well, I can't foot the bill on this entirely. And the seller wanted to close. And so we're like, okay, we're going to put this on the back burner. Market speaks. It says it's needed. We obviously need a toolkit, and which is something I talked to Pace and a few other people about. And it's like, okay, if you have this whole thing called the family office, you can do a lot of things now. And not that I need that for that project alone. There's a lot of other ways to get there. But for my larger vision of small town redevelopment and interacting with the government, the community, and doing really big things where we wanted to go, it seemed like building out a larger net worth and having people on staff to help us, execute on a vision. This seemed the right way to go. So that's when we stopped and we said, okay, we took losses on that. We have cool designs and cool plans. We have those on hand when we need to get back to that. But for right now, we have to put that on the back burner and we'll see it another day because the market already said it's needed. Maybe somebody else go do it. Like, I don't mind that at all. I'd love to be a part of it if it happened. But
Yeah, you want a place to go with your kids?
exactly.
Yeah,
Like
so someone else builds it. Great, you'll
yeah,
show up.
we had an
So what was the most challenging aspect of that process of pitching, bringing on the money, getting the designs, and then eventually shutting it down?
Yeah. So I think three main things. One is starting it up. That's the hardest part of anything because
What was challenging that? What was difficult?
it takes a lot to have an idea and start doing it. Because I think a lot of people have an idea, but they aren't willing to like go and do something. And that's generally how I get experience is just doing something, even if I fail, and you learn through that experience. And that can be overwhelming for people because you know, losers or winners lose more than losers. And that's how winners win is like they go out there and they try and they keep going at it. And if you're going to get into something and you fail at it and you give up, then you're never going to get to the point of winning. And overcoming all of those fears, like, oh man, I'm going to jump into something really big. That was like one mental hurdle to get over. And then the other part of like presenting the actual deal on stage is a bit nerve wracking. I'm the kind of person like I can talk to people pretty well. But being on a stage, there's just like, I feel like this
Oh, I feel
blackness,
you.
like I have no clue what's going on and just words are coming out of my mouth. And I'm like, I feel very not present. And I'm like working on that. So that was a difficult moment. And then the shutting it down was bittersweet in one way. It was like a lot of work to get to that point. And so I was relieved in that like I can go and move over to a different role, a different hat of like moving forward where I felt this one had stalled out. But I also like sad that I had, number one, had debts from it. And number two, didn't like feel like I had anything tangible. And so it was hard to like say, okay, we're doing this, shut down, it's off, but also relieving and saying, let's go forward. And I think my friend Ann McNamara helped me the most get to that point where I was like, man, I just don't want to be known as that person who tried to do something and didn't. And she said, she brought up Pace.
Oof.
Like, look at what
Yeah.
Pace does. Like, think about all the projects that he's released and that didn't, like, what happened to those things? We don't know if they succeeded or failed or whatever. And he just keeps trying, keeps releasing things and keeps doing things. And people forget that. Like, they'll remember you as somebody who is doing something. And, some of them you win. They're market research. They're all the sales is market research. So that was helpful.
Yeah, I heard something this morning along those lines. It was Alex Hormozy or something. Um, and he was saying that uh, you can't have a good life or good character and an easy life because the cost of one is the other.
Mm, mm,
I think that really, I mean, I think you're going through that, right?
hmm.
You coming out of the gate and having just like straight success after success after after success doesn't happen.
No, no.
And a lot of people, almost everybody else, gives up.
Yep. Yep.
And so the way that you win is just keep going.
Yeah. And what you said about that, like good character is a huge part of the game that we play, especially like in business and real estate. I don't think people feel like if you take the Clifton Strengths Finder test and stuff, well, like my things are like ideation, strategy, futurism, and like responsibility, in which talks about your commitment and about your name and like the things that you say you're going to do. And a lot of people get into the space and they have a harder time because they don't fulfill the obligations or stand by people, especially if you are in the gator community and you see the roles of connector where somebody be like, oh, hey, you have money and this person needs money. I'll slap you guys together, take $1,000 and bounce or whatever it might be. And that's a terrible way to operate. And so I'm unfortunately, because of my responsibility, I am stuck in two that I don't get paid until they finish out. And now they're like months past due or a year past due. And I'm over here spinning my wheels for 800 or $1,200 that I'm eventually going to get paid after I've sunk like 100 hours in here trying to create a problem, solve this thing that in my inexperience got other people involved in. And I know some people are like, nobody's going to care about your money as much as you care about it. It's like, well, in these situations, I care a lot about my friend's money. So I'm going to find a way for them to win, even if in real estate, you just wait and you will at some point, things will appreciate. But it's like, I'm going to find a faster way to do that. So I'm stuck in these two particular deals. One of them has plenty of equity. We can get that one out of there, no problem. The other one has very, very little. And there's a bunch of other factors in play that make it complicated. But I'm standing by these people. I was like, we're going to solve this. We're going to get you out of this. I'm never going to connect again. So I'm like, take money and put it into my own stuff, which is literally what they come back to me and they say, I've seen you through this. I'm not going to ever do that again. Like take other people's deals. I'm just going to give the money to you and you can do whatever you want with it because I know you're good for it. And so I appreciate that. But the burden again is put on me to like, continue to perform in that, responsibility.
Yeah, I mean, there's a certain part of everybody that would rather not go through the challenges.
Yeah.
I mean, I I'm probably I think I seek comfort a lot.
I saw you on your boat.
Many people do. What's that?
I saw you on your boat.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's a growth thing,
That's right.
Chad.
That's right.
I'm putting in the work there.
Putting the reps.
Just happens to also be comfortable.
Yeah. How many waves you
Yeah.
can get? Yeah.
Yeah. Of
That's
course,
right.
a lot of the days that we've gone out so far on that boat, just as a sidebar, um, have been low wind days, which for a sailboat is not great.
Yep.
Actually, the only time I've experienced literal 0.0 knots of wind was on like my first day out with the family.
Oh no.
It ended up being better for the kids, uh, maybe less exciting for me for sailing, but we got to go out into the bay and just drop the swim platform off the back, and all of them got to hang out and swim. And I mean, our kids are getting older. Like our kids are 19 to 12,
Yep.
almost 13, and all four of them were out there. And I feel like those days are probably dwindling in number. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I was really grateful in hindsight that it kind of worked out that way because we got a photo of like all four of them or video of all four of them jumping off the boat together, and those times are numbered. Just
Yep.
trying to hold on to them and just be present in those moments.
Yeah. I think they're like, oh, you only have 16 summers with your kids. And so like,
Ugh,
they
yeah,
go, they go fast.
yeah. That'll send me off spinning,
Yeah.
right? Because my oldest daughter is 19, sophomore in college, and yeah, the thing is like you have you basically have 19 years with your kid, right? You've got the first 18-ish, and then the rest of life totals another year of time together.
Yeah.
Now, luckily, my daughter's not too far away at school, and she comes back frequently, and she likes being with the family, and
Yeah.
I'm grateful for that.
That means you've done well, like, that they come back because I've seen a lot of people who don't go back and, for reasons. And you just like Pace talks about that a lot. Like, I'm going to build this whole compound so my kids want to be around. And that's really
Right.
important.
Oh, yeah, that definitely resonates.
Yeah.
All right, so what was your biggest takeaways from the challenges of the miniature golf setup?
Um, I think learning about myself, how I aspire to do bigger things, because I knew that um, I'm capable of many things. And there was definitely a lot of time where I've not really done anything. Yeah, I'm sure I've done Airbnbs and flip houses and whatever, and web programming and stuff, but I just definitely spent a lot more years just like not really doing things and essentially puttering around, whatever, and just like not living up to full potential. And that I always knew was something that weighed on me because when you look, so at the Bible, when you're looking at the parable of the rich man who leaves and leaves his servants with talents and then comes back and sees what they all do with it, I definitely feel the weight of somebody who's been given a lot of talents. And not just like me personally, like, you think about how we have so many opportunities in this country and there's so many people that we can impact and a world that we can impact way more easily here than anywhere else. And then just my own opportunities of my education and experience and how I was mentioning this to somebody the other day where as I interact with the nothing against the sub 2 community, but like there's a lot of people in there who have trauma from the way that they were raised or the life situations that they went through, where my wife and I don't have that. We come from very stable home. So all the more for us to go and do something with that. And so I felt that weight. And going through this experience, being an owners club now and aspiring to do bigger things kind of resolved some of that within me where it's like, okay, we've unlocked, like we know we should be. Now we have ways to, take that out of us and go do something with it. I think that was one of the bigger things. And then realizing uh my strategy of just if you go to Aspire Tour and Andrew Cordell and Eddie Wilson are there, and you got these two different personalities. Andrew Cordell says like, yeah, if you're in an airplane and you're going to go like skydiving or whatever, Eddie's going to be over there looking at the backpack and making sure that it's got the parachute. Does it have the other one? Was it packed right? And Andrew's going to jump out, figure it on the way down. And I'm that kind of person. And you can do that, but only so much if you actually want to accomplish something.
Yeah,
And
before you hit the ground and splat.
exactly. So it'll catch up to you. And so I think that's what I learned too is like, I'm so glad that I was in a place to be able to recover financially from that, unlike Tiger King. And so, like, I can recover from a lot of these crazy, wild things where it's like ridiculous amounts of money that I'm able to pay off via like some of the things that we've done in Gator or this acquisition or this partnership. And we're able to recoup from those. But it taught me in that it's like, I can't do that forever. I have to bring in other professionals. And that's some of the smartest people in the world. They aren't the smartest about their thing. I think Rocket Fuel talks about this and some of the other books where it's like cousins who helped Henry Ford build cars knew nothing about how a car works. He just knew how to put together the logistics of their battle plan, their strategy for sales and marketing and growing that company. And some of the people like Henry Ford, like they may not be able to build car, but they knew how to bring in the smartest person into the room and solve their problem for that. And that is something that I'm leaning into now instead of myself. Just like as we build a family office, I'm not going to go figure out like how to be a CPA and a bookkeeper. I'm going to go find somebody and bring them in because they're going to do it way better, just like my assistant. It's like, why am I bothering about trying to get all these documents signed and making sure this communication happens here? It's like, there's some people who are really good operators, really good integrators. They're going to be way better at it than I'm going to be. And just go find those people, align them with the vision, and just set the strategy and the course. And they're really happy to be in that role, which is crazy because as I read Rocket Fuel, I'm like reading Visionary. I'm like, yeah, this is lovely. And then I read Integrator. I'm like, who in the world would want that job? But there are
Yeah,
people who love
totally
it.
agree.
So, yeah, two big things.
Yeah. Our household is 2 people on the visionary side. We certainly need just for the running of the house, and we need an integrator.
Yes, yes. You got to get a Dan Martell housekeeper.
Yeah, for sure. That's on the short-term checklist, I think.
Yeah, I'm working on saving up a little tax strategy is you can put money into CISA accounts, Coverdale Education Savings Accounts, and you can use that money like to grow in lending. So we do gap lending from there and some other strategies, acquisitions and things. And that money is set aside for education plus childcare. So you can use that for like colleges, schools, nannies, au pairs. And that's one thing I've been building that pool so that we could, as we lean into having 5 kids, I have not convinced my wife of this yet, but it's like, imagine if we just had another person around here who could just kind of be helpful all the time and you don't have to make all the decisions. Somebody will help us. So working on that.
Well, I wish you luck on that. It would free up a lot of time, and we'll get there.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, what's the future like? You have your long-term vision of small town revitalization. It sounds like that might have a bit of a pause as you build some structure underneath it.
Yeah, it definitely has a little bit of a pause, but some of my partners have approached me about doing some different things. We're building a lending company with some people in Owners Club, which will definitely scale and grow. I'm still doing my hospitality business growth. And we had a plan to kind of like level up and take the step ladder of, oh, you went from single family short term rentals, now you get a multi, and then you get to a hotel and you can kind of go up that to get to like a resort side. And I think that plays into the whole community hospitality aspect of our redevelopment plan. Um, but then some partners came to me and they're like, hey, we want to work with you because you're doing things. And I think we can make something really awesome. And if you have this whole plan of all these businesses and redevelopments and stuff that you want to do, pair that with our fund and what we're trying to do over here, and we can make something really beautiful happen. And so that timeline may accelerate and I would be very happy for it. I'm still acquiring stuff in our small town, acquiring stuff elsewhere with different people. Um, but if I was to say like, hey, I'm going to get back to actually like doing something with the vision, it would have been like 5 years, and we maybe will push that up to a year from now as we see these partnerships flourish.
Awesome. Well, if people wanted to get in touch with you or follow along or invest, send you money,
Yeah.
where should people go?
Yeah, you can go to my website, chadchoquette.com, or any of my socials, Chad Choquette, Choquette. And I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn, all the things. Find me pretty easily nowadays. And I'm starting to roll out a podcast on YouTube, and we're getting there. Trying to build a bigger marketing presence for having people connect with us and help us and us help them.
You're doing all of the things all of the time.
100%.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me today, Chad.
Yeah, you're welcome. It was
My
great.
pleasure getting to get to know you a little bit better, and I think we'll actually see you very soon in a week or so.
Well, yep, I'm looking forward to playing golf.
Well, I will be on the golf course,
You and
and I
everybody
will
else,
be
right?
swinging clubs, but I don't know if that will technically count as playing golf.
We're gonna tee
We'll
off
be
like
there.
Top Golf. 4.
I think that, yeah, we're playing golf.
There we go. Me too. It'll be fun.
Definitely will. All right, man. I'll see you soon.
Sound good. See you soon.